This video is brought to you by CJ Studios, specializing in bar mitzvahs, weddings, and video production.
One of the things you do is credit cards.
Yes.
Right? You help people rebuild their credit.
Yes.
Person has really horrible credit, like very, very low. Comes to you, what can you do for him?
So
Legally?
Oh, okay, that makes it a little trickier. So for low credit score, it really would depend on two factors. Factor A is it low because you've never built it? Or is it low because you got a credit card, it's 18 years old, you maxed it out, you decided the credit card companies are rich and you don't want to pay them back. So if it's just because it's just low because you've never built a credit card, you can either A, try to apply for like a store credit card, or you can try to apply for a low like student credit card through like, let's say Chase Bank or Capital One Bank. Or you can have a family member. If your family member has an American Express credit card, they've had it for 30 years, they have a $100,000 line of credit. The second case is, you did something horrible, you messed up your credit. There's a variety of companies that I've utilized for my clients to help facilitate fixing that credit. You may have outstanding debt. So I'll get on the phone with these credit card companies or whichever outside collection agency they're utilizing, and I'll spend whatever amount of time it takes to negotiate a settlement. Sometimes you may want to settle, sometimes you may not care to settle. But if you want to settle, if you want to just fight with them for the next year or 2 years, then we have outside companies we contract with who will just dispute it on the credit report. Just dispute. And eventually, the company they're disputing with won't respond to the dispute. And now the credit bureau goes, oh, they didn't respond, so it's now gone.
Let's be clear. This isn't just like a Jewish thing, right? Because
No,
I don't want people to think, oh, the Jews, they try to not pay. No, people, America is like in debt, okay?
Everybody
like
uses credit
trillions
cards.
and trillions of dollars. So everyone uses credit cards.
We just had a client just now, last week. We were working on this most of the week. First thing is he said he wanted to settle up with their credit cards. So we spent hours on the phone with the credit card companies and we settled a majority of his debts for like 30 cents on the dollar. So he said, okay, done. So you settle with them, so you pay it off, right? Now it's considered settled and paid. So the next time the credit report comes, it's going to say paid. It's not going to say settled, because when it says settled, it means that there was a settlement agreed.
That doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
Don't settle, ever.
You want them to say it was paid, it was rectified. On the credit bureau, they can use a variety of terms. Then you get an outside company to come in and step in and then clean up the little bits that are still there. Because when you start fixing your credit, whatever way it may be, they're going to start checking your credit. They're going to want to see if you're really, still an idiot. So you have to remove those inquiries that may have showed up. There's other negative things that could be harming you. So you'll still want to contract an outside company. Once you clean up your credit or you increase your credit via one of the methods we discussed, getting a card from your mom or your dad or your dead relative, and then,
sure,
you finish maxing her out, you open up, a credit card that's usually easy to get. You start with that, you make payments, 30 days, 90 days, usually about 90 days. Then you go to the next guy who's a little harder to get. You get a card, it's going to be $1,000 limit, $1,500 limit. If you're lucky, $2,000. Then you wait, another, month, 2 months, 3 months, just for it to show up so there's a little history. And then from there, you can open up another card. And then you go back to your first card and you say, hey, I've had you guys for now, it's 4 months. I, used it for $20 a month. It's only $1,000. I want to use it, but I can't buy tissues for $1,000. They say, okay, well, you've been good. We'll give you $2,000, right? Great. Now you go back to the second card. Can you give me a little more? And then you build it up to a point where now credit card companies are going to extend you $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. And with those credit cards, you could get reward cards, credit cards that will have spending thresholds. So you spend $3,000 in the first 90 days, and they'll give you 50,000 points. Those points can now be translated into A, cash by selling them to somebody like myself, or B, they could translate into using them to fly first class.
Why would anyone want to keep on, though, getting more and more credit? There's like a whole credit situation. Everyone's like, oh, we're like choking from credit.
I usually tell people your card has $10,000. Utilize $5,000 at any given time. The credit bureau sees that you're using your cards, you're using them responsibly. The problem people run into is when they go, oh golly, I have $30,000 in credit cards, there's a really nice car I want, you're going to go buy the car, you're going to go, it's not a problem, I'm going to swipe my card.
There you go.
Right, but now you look bad to the credit bureaus because you're holding a big balance.
Oh.
So if you're going to do that, if you're planning to hold a balance, do it on 2 cards or 3 cards. Now, if you really go, I really can't pay the card this month, or you know what, I really like that car. It's a nice car, but I figure I'm going to pay $200 a month for the next 18 months, and I'm going to pay off the car $300 a month. Get yourself an interest-free credit card. Because when you look at the fine print of these credit cards, the rewards cards in particular, your interest rates could be 14, 15, 16, 17%, which if you translate that over a course of 18 months or 2 years, it could be thousands of dollars. So this client was paying a lot of money in interest to credit cards. So I got involved. I applied for, let's say, 8 credit cards simultaneously. Why simultaneously? Because then the other credit cards won't see that I applied for 10 cards in 10 minutes. Then I sat there on the phone. It took me a total of about a week's worth of work, calling up each individual credit card companies and asking them for either A, to approve the card, or B, for higher lines of credit. Because he had maintained a balance on his cards for so long, it negatively impacted him. But he was never late on any payments. He never did anything evil, so he still had tremendously good credit. The only thing that was hurting him was the fact that he had an extremely large amount of balances that were carrying over. So when we're all said and done, I got him something like $30,000 of interest-free cards, balance transferred over, and split it up. So now he's only using between 30 and 50% per card of the new cards, and he still has these cards that he had high balances on. He still has them, but they're empty now. So he has these high lines of credit on his old cards that are now showing that he's had these cards for 20 years, and they're now zero balance, so it looks good. He's not maxing out his new cards, so it looks even better, and he's not paying interest.